Hello viewers, I welcome you to the lecture series on cybersecurity, information security. Today we will discuss about VoIP protocol, that is Voice over IP protocol. So to start with, a question arises that what is VoIP? We know that voice can be digitalized. The digitalized voice can be transmitted in packets over the network. Voice transmission comes in the different flavors. In the past, telecommunication through fixed circuit switch network has dominated. In recent years, we see data communication network, especially voice over IP. If you have never heard of VoIP, get ready to change the way you think about long distance phone calls. VoIP or Voice over Internet Protocol is a method for taking analog audio signals like the kind you hear when you talk on the phone and turning them into the digital data that can be transmitted over the Internet. Voice over Internet Protocol is a methodology and group of technologies for the delivery of voice communications and multimedia sessions over Internet protocol networks such as Internet. Voice over IP is the transmission of voice traffic in packets using the Internet as the transmission medium. IP is used rather than the traditional circuit transmission. VoIP is defined in the recommendations ITU-T H.32x and RFC 2443. Why VoIP? The Internet protocol is used to deliver packets carrying digitalized voice. However, IP was not designed for real-time traffic such as voice and video communication. IP is the connectionless protocol, meaning a virtual connection is not established through a network prior to transmission. IP makes no guarantees concerning reliability, flow control, error detection or error correction. Potential errors include out-of-sequence packets or even loss of packets. Voice transmission requires guaranteed connection and a reasonable delay. Nevertheless, IP succeeds partially due to the high cost associated with the traditional circuit switched TDM network. VoIP uses packet switched network. It makes the network transparent to the upper layers that are involved in voice transmission through an IP-based network. The existing use of IP network also allows the integration of voice and data integration. To leverage the connectionless nature of IP, vendors have developed higher layer protocols to address the guaranteed connection and transmission issue. VoIP and OSI model. VoIP follows a layered model comparable to the OSI 7-layered model we are familiar with. Just like the purpose of developing the OSI model, breaking into defined layers provides a framework. It establishes a standard to make the system more manageable and flexible. Each layer is relatively independent to other layers around it. Changes made to one layer should have no or minimal impact on other layers. What are the VoIP protocols? The two most generally used protocols for VoIP area unit, the ITU normal H.323 and also the IATF normal SIP. Each area unit signaling protocols that discovered, maintain and terminate a VoIP decision. Additionally, the Media Entry Management Protocol MGCP provides a signaling and management protocol between VoIP gateways and ancient PSTN, Public Switched Telephone Network Gateways. First protocol is ITU-T H.323. H.323 may be a comprehensive protocol underneath the ITU-T specifications for casuation, voice, video and information across a network. The H.323 specification includes many subprotocols. H.225 for specifying decision controls, example decision setup and teardown. H.235 for specifying the protection framework for H.323 and also the decision setup. H.245 for specifying media methods and parameter negotiations like terminal capabilities. H.450 for specifying supplementary services like decision hold and telephony. H.235 additionally provides security measures like authentication, integrity, privacy and a few non-repudiation support in H.323 communications. It's designed to work seamlessly with different protocols like H.245 and H.225. A decision setup is secured through Transport Layer Security (TLS). Once established, a decision management is initiated, so secret writing and media channel data will be negotiated. H.323 utilizes RTP, that is Real-Time Transport Protocol, or RTCP, that is Real-Time Transport Management Protocol, as its transport protocol that rides on high of UDP. Secret writing is performed among the RTP packet by third-party hardware or at the network layer. Authentication underneath H.323 will be either radially symmetrical encryption based or subscription based. For radially symmetrical encryption based authentication, previous contact between the ACT entities isn't needed as a result of protocol uses. Diffie-Hellman key exchange to get a shared secret identity between the two entities. With relevancy, the H.235 recommendation, a subscription based authentication needs a previous shared secret identity and their area unit 3 variations of this. First, password based with the radially symmetrical secret writing. Second, password based with hashing, and third, certificate based with signatures. Second protocol is Session Initiation Protocol, that is SIP. SIP may be a text-based application layer protocol that addresses the signaling and session management among the packet telephone network. It's outlined in RFC 3261. SIP uses a request-response model. In SIP, authentication and authorization area unit handled either by employing a lower layer theme or on a request by request basis with the challenge response mechanism. As SIP may be a lightweight protocol, its security capabilities area unit terribly restricted. SIP requests and responses can't be end-to-end encrypted. As a result of message fields like the request and root ought to be visible to proxy servers that area unit gift in several network architectures to make sure SIP requests area unit routed properly. Voice information is transmitted in clear text over UDP and communications protocol. Though SIP supports S-MIME based secret writing exploitation digital certificates, sure header fields employed in requests and responses can't be encrypted. The SIP protocol depends on the transport layer security mechanisms like TLS or IPsec to produce the desired security for the entire message. Third protocol is Media Entry Management Protocol, that is MGCP. MGCP is revealed by the Media Management Social Unit as RFC 3435. It expects that MGCP messages can be continuously be carried over secure net connections as outlined within the Science Security Design as outlined in RFC 2401. Exploitation either the Science Authentication Header outlined in RFC 2402 or the Science Encapsulating Security Payload outlined in RFC 2406. This enables for information connectionless integrity, origin authentication and no obligatory anti-replay protection of messages passed between the media entry that converts circuit switch traffic to packet based traffic, and also the media entry controller, that is MGC, that dictates the service logic of the traffic. Next is processing in VoIP system. At the sender aspect, analog voice signals area unit reborn into digital signals, compressed and so set into a planned format exploitation voice codec like G.711, G.729 and G.723, etc. Next, the encoded voice is softened into equal sized packets. Moreover, in every packet, headers from completely different layers area unit hooked up to the encoded voice. The protocol headers accessorily to voice packets area unit of RTP, UDP and signs further as link layer header. The packets area unit then sent over the network IP to its destination wherever the decipherment and depacketization of the received packets is disbursed. Throughput, the transmission method, inference, time variation of packet delivery might occur. Hence, a playout buffer is employed that smoothens the playout at the receiver finish, which can have a delay caused as the result of interference. Packets area unit queued at the playout buffer for a stipulated time before being Y. However, packets that arrive later than the playout time area unit discarded. VoIP uses the SIGN protocol, specifically Session Initiation Protocol, that is SIP, and H.323. These SIGN protocols area unit needed to ascertain VoIP calls and to shut the media streams between the purchasers. Another important topic to discuss is quality of service, QoS, in VoIP. QoS is employed for mensuration of the degree of user satisfaction in different words. Quality of service will be outlined because the network ability to produce smart services that satisfy its customers. Once degree of user satisfaction is over, it means that QoS is additionally higher. QoS area unit shortly represented as given below. Delay. Delay will be outlined because the total time it takes since an individual act another person, speak words and hearing them at the opposite finish. Delay will be classified into three categories: delay at the supply, delay at the receiver and network delay. Jitter. Variation in transmission delay is thought as interference science network doesn't guarantee of packets delivery time that introduces variations in transmission delay and its additional negative effects on voice quality. Packet loss. Packets transmitted over science network is also lost within the network or arrived corrupted or late. Packets would be discarded after they arrive late at the interference buffer of the receiver or once there is overflow in the interference buffer or router buffer. Therefore, packet loss is adequate. The full loss happens throughout congestion of network and late arrival. Throughout the packet loss, the sender is aware to conduct the lost packets. It causes additional packet delay and it affects the transmission QoS. Echo. In VoIP, echo happens once a caller at the sender aspect hears the reflection of his own voice. Once he talked on the phone or the electroacoustic transducer, whereas the callee doesn't notice the echo. Echo is that the term of the reflections of the sent voice signal by the wave finish. Echo may well be electrical echo that exists in PSTN networks or echo of sound that is difficulty in VoIP networks. Throughput. The output is also outlined because the most range of bits received out of the full range of bits sent throughout associate degree interval of your time. Next topic we are going to discuss is VoIP security. First is VoIP attacks threats. Attackers typically target some fashionable and well-known systems and applications. VoIP has become one in every of such application. VoIP, like every another system or applications, have its weakness. Therefore, protocol designers ought to address it before with the success putting in VoIP on a universal scale. Thus, this section presents a study of attacks on the VoIP. DOS, denial of service. DOS attacks that reduces the quantity of obtainable SINS addresses, information layer and different router functions. A DOS attack typically blocks the service of the server. A VoIP based mostly DOS attack bombards a decision process application with the massive amounts of coincidental requests that it cannot method, inflicting the motility down of the appliance, thereby denying service to approved or supposed users. DOS attacks will be directed toward any network part to disrupt the system's practicality. Network sniffing. Network sniffing attacks occur once a person or offender is observant the network traffic patterns. Typically, any system, user or attacker on a network that's sharing a transmission medium has the power to look at different systems' traffic. Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping is a shot towards assembling sensitive data to arrange for a cyber attack or to achieve intelligence. In VoIP, eavesdropping may be a situation wherever the offender is in a position to watch signal or media contents that area unit change between users so as to look at communications to arrange for different future attacks. Spoofing. One of the kinds of VoIP spoofing is display spoofing, wherever the offender masquerades itself as a licensed VoIP user and places a decision. The display that seems on the user aspect seems authentic, even supposing the offender is exploitation unfair means that the offender will currently trick the user in giving for free sensitive information. Spoofing is thus the VoIP version of ancient phishing. Toll fraud. Toll fraud is that the ability to possess associate degree unauthorized access to the VoIP services, typically for financial gain. For VoIP suppliers, this is often one in every of the foremost essential attacks. Toll fraud will be recognized by the manipulating the sign messages or the configuration of VoIP parts together with the charge systems. Spam over net telephone, that is SPIT. Due to its a lot of lower communication prices, VoIP network has become additional engaging as another to this PSTN, further as a target for spammers. VoIP spam may be a recorded self-dialed phone calls, exploitation phonation net protocol. VoIP spam, additionally called spam over net telephone, that is SPIT, is popping dead set be a significant downside for VoIP networks. SPIT is additional severe that your email spam due of its assaultive nature, which needs a period defense reaction. What is the security measures for VoIP? According downside on DOS. There has been a report that sure VoIP phones area unit liable to each DOS attacks, and sure VoIP routers also are at risk of malicious traffic. Solutions to avoid a DOS attack. Monitoring and filtering to take care of list of suspicious users and deny those users from getting any connection or session. Authentication to attest the identity of a user before forwarding his or her messages through the network. Stateless proxy to lower the risks of memory exhaustion. DOS homeless proxy will be accustomed to perform different security checks like user authentication, third-party registration and filtering spam sources. Server style to create, computer hardware, memory and network affiliation the primary line of defense against any DOS attacks. Reported downside on eavesdropping. An internet security systems team discovered the issues in VoIP system during a vendor's decision manager. The vendors offer associate degree offender the power to concentrate in or forward calls, additionally to gain unauthorized access to networks running on VoIP. Answer to eavesdropping. Employing perfect hardware. Only approved forks ought to tend access to wiring closets. Vulnerable network purpose ought to implement a port-based mostly waterproof address security, for instance on a reception courtesy phone. A method ought to often scan the network of devices running in unauthorized mode. Another answer is secret writing of VoIP traffic. Reported downside on spoofing. There are many reports that banks and online payment services were victims of attack wherever the offender referred to as a credit card client and deceived the purchasers into giving for free sensitive data relating to their accounts by declaring that there had been dishonorable activity on their accounts. Solution to spoofing. An effective authentication module combined with secret writing would be an efficient answer to spoofing and masquerading attacks. Reported downside on toll fraud. Toll fraud threat is commonly most vital within the eyes of enormous organization. An imminent thievery of service from an outsized organization will go unnoticed for quite your time, permitting the offender to rack up an outsized bill at the organization's expense. But toll fraud is additionally quite simple to accomplish. A straightforward configuration downside within the dial setup with leave lines open for check purpose, associate degreed remote access will be abused by an offender. It is but profitable from the purpose of freed of the offender to commit toll fraud as a result of once the attack is over the offender will abuse the service quite speedily by reselling them with no real prices concerned from the attacker's aspect. Solution to toll fraud. VoIP suppliers will stop toll fraud by configuring powerful firewalls that stop attacks and by protective the ports. Reported downside on SPIT. It is potential network for an offender to impersonate as another VoIP caller. For instance, associate degree offender may probably inject a pretend ID into a standard VoIP decision, so the receiver mistakes the decision to be real and coming back from a best known and sure supply. The receiver, mistaken by the electronic ID of the caller, might place unwarranted trust within the person at the opposite finish. In such a communication, the receiver is also hoaxed into revealing personal data like account number, SSN or answers to security questions, a mother's family name for instance. Solution to SPIT. A normal blacklisting approach led through all the calls coming back from the best known science address. VoIP vendors additionally give security measurements to damn suspicious callers. Above all, receiver ought to be alert to not break any vital data to the offender. Next topic is configuration of VoIP. Adapters, USB. VoIP phone adapters enable USA to use any ancient telephone to position VoIP calls. They typically appear as if USB adapters. These USB adapters have a typical standard telephone phone port so that one will connect a daily connective. Once hooked up, your phone operates as if connected to traditional public utility. Software controlled VoIP applications, soft phones. Soft phones area unit phones that enable USA to create VoIP phone calls directly from a PC that has a web affiliation. Soft phones build decision with the assistance of a laptop, telephone receiver and a sound card. A soft phone sort of a traditional phone, just with the distinction that the affiliation is coming back from your laptop. VoIP suppliers divulge soft phones for free of charge in exchange of availing their service. Code controlled VoIP application permits users to speak to others. Dedicated VoIP phones exploitation. These services at no further price. A VoIP phone feels like a daily telephone. An Avid VoIP phone connects on an electronic network instead of a standard telephone line. An Avid VoIP phone may match in two ways, that a phone and a base station that connects to the net. It should operate on a neighborhood wireless network. Dedicated VoIP phones need a supplier further as a service setup. Dedicated routers. These routers in VoIP enable user to attach standard phones to the net to position VoIP calls wherever the router is connected to associate degree ADSL cable electronic equipment and permit users to connect a standard telephone. VoIP routers have the extra practicality of associate degree science router, as that permits USA to attach to the laptop further. VoIP suppliers piece these routers underneath a particular setup for a charge. These routers may also perform their functions freelance of any PC or any code. Wireless compatibility of VoIP. With the wireless router, mobile devices and smartphones may also use the VoIP system. If you put in a wireless computer network, you would like a applicable security like a firewall or secret writing. Problems with wireless VoIP. VoIP on computer network is deployed principally in company environments like in corporations instead of homes. Wireless VoIP poses issues of measurability for enterprises. As just in case with all wireless network, quality of service is poor compared to wired networks. Setup price and maintain price is higher during a wireless VoIP network. Due to variety of access points among the restricted space of network, security threat is higher over a wireless VoIP network. Limitations of VoIP. The popularity of VoIP can rely upon some key problems. A number of these problems area unit a resultant of the very fact that science was designed for information packets, whereas some problems stem from vendors that don't seem to be meeting the necessities to the standards. The key problems area unit mentioned as follows. Quality of service. The design of science doesn't guarantee real-time transmission of voice packets, as science was designed for information packets that guarantee error-free order delivery of information packets. Acceptableness of VoIP depends on delay that should not exceed a given threshold worth. Prioritization of packets means that giving voice packets high priority will guarantee smart quality of voice. Interoperability. You need to interchange the sign mechanism of PSTN with VoIP sign mechanism if you wish to create VoIP common among net users. A number of the suitable sign mechanisms area unit H.323 standards, SIP protocols and MGCP. Every of those protocols integrates information, voice and video over constant wire. Security. The question of security arises as a result of the backbone of VoIP is that the net that isn't a really secure medium. There will be interception of calls, DOS fraud. Security will be provided by exploitation, tunneling protocols like layer 2 tunneling, the secret writing mechanism used in secure sockets layer, that is SSL. However, secret writing isn't wide out there for VoIP. Integration with public switch telephone network, that is PSTN. VoIP works in union with PSTN and that they seem as one network to the users of this service. In VoIP technology, your telephone number has associate degree science address. Therefore, anytime a VoIP phone engages during a decision, its science address is translated into the telephone number and handed over to the PSTN network. You would like to mix of each VoIP a PSTN. As a result of not everybody has switched to VoIP and their area unit are closer range of users, still exploitation PSTN. Scalability. Since calls over science have lower price and also the work on the rising the standard of voice, further as transmission goes on, there has been a high rate in VoIP users. The most obstacle lies in its measurability. So viewers, in today's lecture we discussed VoIP, protocols of VoIP, QoS in VoIP and security implementation on VoIP. We also discussed the security measures and configuration of VoIP. We will discuss the VoIP protocols in detail in forthcoming lectures. Thanks for watching this program. Thank you.